Today, we've got the first look at the new color options of the iPhone 16, as well as news of camera upgrades that we've all been waiting for, so make sure you hit subscribe now and we'll get right into it. So first up, before we get into the exciting stuff, we've got a new report from Baby Source on Weibo, and he says that the iPhone 16s are going to be seeing an upgrade in the battery capacity apart from the iPhone 16 Plus. Now he says that the standard iPhone 16 is going to get a 3561 mAh battery, the 16 Plus is going to get a 4006, the 16 Pro gets a 3355 mAh battery, and then the 16 Pro Max gets a 4676. This also aligns with the previous battery capacity leaks we've had from Majinbuu on Twitter, so it could be legit, but this is the first time I've ever heard of this leaker, so take it with a grain of salt for now. Another leak that we've had this week says we're going to see 256GB as the base model for the iPhone 16 Pro instead of the previous 128, but again it comes from a sketchy source so it's not guaranteed, but given the Pro Max last year had a 256GB base model, it does seem like it could be the next likely step. Now next up, we've got another tweet from Majinbuu showcasing more dummy models of the iPhone 16 lineup, and of course they are just dummy models, but they give us a good idea of what it's going to look like. And then we've also got the iPhone 16 Pro colors leaked on a Weibo post. Now according to the leak, the iPhone 16 Pro models are going to be available in space black, white, grey and a new rose color, but the leaker also provided the colors themselves, and the rose color is apparently more of an orangey gold rather than the pink that we've had in the past, and I've created these renders here to give you a good idea of what they're going to look like. We've also got news that the iPhone 16 Plus is going to be available in 7 different colors, which are going to be blue, pink, yellow, green, black, white and purple, so plenty of choice when it comes to the colors. Next up, we've got news that the iPhone 16 is going to feature even thinner bezels this time around thanks to new BRS technology, which is more compact and efficient to enable slimmer bezels without compromising on the performance. We also had a nice bump in peak brightness last year, so I expect the Pro models at least are going to continue in this fashion, and I expect we're going to see something around 2600 nits of peak brightness. Now next up, we've got great news that the iPhone 16 is finally going to address the issue that's plagued iPhone photography for quite a long time, and Apple is introducing a new atomic layer deposition to the iPhone camera lens manufacturing process, and put in simple terms, it's an anti-reflective coating. Now iPhones have long suffered with lens flare in the photos and videos, more so than their competitors, so an improvement to the anti-reflective coating is going to round off an already great camera system. So the iPhone 16 is looking like a good upgrade in hardware along with some changes to the design. With a better display, better cameras and the latest chipset, it's no doubt going to be a great performing phone. Now we also had news that the iPhone 16 is going to be increasing the RAM to help support the new on-device AI, and while we don't know how much it is at the moment, it's very likely going to be 12 gigs of RAM. Now for those of you excited for the iPhone 16 though, we're now going to run through the full specs, design and the expected pricing for each model in the range to help you guys decide which one is right for you. So make sure you hit subscribe now and we'll get right into it. So first up, we have the standard iPhone 16. With the standard iPhone 16, we get a 6.3-inch OLED display, but unfortunately, this is still going to be an LTPS display. The iPhone 16 is going to have a taller aspect ratio than last year, and it's going to be protected by Ceramic Shield 2. We get the new dynamic island, which covers up the 12-megapixel selfie camera and Face ID sensors, and then on the rear we've got a 48-megapixel primary camera and a 12-megapixel ultra-wide. It's powered by the A18 chipset, and it's likely coming with 6GB of RAM and up to 512GB of storage. It's also powered by a 3450 mAh battery with 30W fast charging, and it's going to come with advanced 5G, Bluetooth 5.3 and Wi-Fi 7. Now it will of course ship with iOS 18 and is expected to launch from around $850 in September 2024. Now next up, we've got the iPhone 16 Plus. With the iPhone 16 Plus, we get a 6.9-inch OLED display, and again, unfortunately, this is another LTPS display. It's got a taller aspect ratio than its predecessor and is protected by Ceramic Shield 2. We get the new dynamic island, which covers up the 12-megapixel selfie cameras and Face ID sensors, and then on the rear we've got a 48-megapixel primary camera and a 12-megapixel ultra-wide. It's powered by the A18 chipset, and it's likely going to come with a choice of 6GB of RAM and up to 512GB of storage. It's powered by a 4420 mAh battery with 30-watt fast charging, and it comes with the advanced 5G, Bluetooth 5.3 and Wi-Fi 7. Now it of course ships with iOS 18 and is expected to launch from around $950 in September 24. Next up, we've got the iPhone 16 Pro. Now the iPhone 16 Pro has a 6.3-inch 120Hz LTPO OLED display. It's got a taller aspect ratio than its predecessor, and the Pro is protected by Ceramic Shield 3. We get the new dynamic island, which covers up the 12-megapixel selfie camera and Face ID sensors. Then on the rear, we get a 48-megapixel primary camera, a 48-megapixel ultra-wide camera, and then we've got a 12-megapixel tetraprism camera with 5x optical zoom. It's powered up by the A18 Pro chipset, and it comes with 8GB of RAM and up to 1TB of storage. And it's also powered up by a 3450 mAh battery, and fast charging is still unknown at the moment, but we do expect some improvements. And of course, it comes with the advanced 5G, Bluetooth 5.3 and Wi-Fi 7. It will of course ship with iOS 18 and is expected to launch from around $1,100 in September 2024. Now finally, we save the best to last, the iPhone 16 Pro Max. With the iPhone 16 Pro Max, we get a 6.9-inch 120Hz LTPO OLED display. Again, like the other phones, it's got a taller aspect ratio than its predecessor and is protected by Ceramic Shield 3. We get the dynamic island, which covers up the 12-megapixel selfie cameras and Face ID sensors. And then on the rear, we've got a 48-megapixel primary camera, a 48-megapixel ultra-wide, and a 12-megapixel tetraprism camera with 5x optical zoom. It's powered up by the A18 Pro chipset. It comes with 8GB of RAM and up to 1TB of storage, and it's powered up by a 4500 mAh battery. As with the 16 Pro, we don't know the fast charging at the moment, but we do expect to see some improvements. Now it comes with the advanced 5G, Bluetooth 5.3 and Wi-Fi 7, and it will of course ship with iOS 18, and this one's expected to launch around $1,300 in September 24. So overall, the iPhone 16 is looking like the same iPhone we've been seeing for a long time, apart from a few changes in design like the new camera module on the non-Pros, an extra button and a more polished frame. Now Apple are continuing with the same approach and focusing on hardware and software to give the best user experience possible, and AI is of course playing a huge role in all aspects of tech at the moment, and Apple are working to include as many AI features as they can, and thanks to the power of their chipset, they're focusing with on-device AI rather than server-based. Now it seems that iOS 18 is going to be one of the biggest changes to iOS that we've seen for a while, and I'm excited to see what they deliver. Of course, given the similarities to its predecessor, I can't imagine anyone with an iPhone 15 rushing for an upgrade, but for anyone with an older iPhone or looking to get their first iPhone, then it's definitely going to be a great choice. Launch is still quite far away at the moment, but we're going to receive more and more leaks as we approach it, and of course I'll be sharing it as soon as they come in, so make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a thing in the future.